Good morning, everybody. It's Monday morning here. Monday, the 2nd of September. Can you believe it's already September? It's crazy. Jesus, where's the year gone? Doing some early morning casting. I made some Seahawks blanks the other day, and we definitely live in a house divided. My wife is a 49ers fan, so today I'll be making some 49ers blanks for her so she can have her say so, but hers are going to have this nice piece of burl, stabilized burl included in hers, whereas mine are just regular. So early Monday morning for me here. Let me see, these are the Seahawks blanks that just came out of the pot yesterday. Pretty nice looking colors there. Go Hawks. Yep. And so we're going to be making 49ers blanks for the wife. Good morning, everybody. Looks like everybody's on the Instagrams this morning. How's everybody doing? Thanks for joining me. All right, so what we're going to be using here today is testing out some resin that I've been trying out recently, and it's East Coast epoxy, or East Coast resin, I guess. It's an epoxy resin, 2-part, mixed 1-to-1, and so far so good. I haven't had any issues with it. Takes color really well, hardens phenomenally, and it's fairly inexpensive. So if you're looking to get started in resin casting, I'd say East Coast resin is a good way to get started and not break the bank until you want to move up to a different type of resin, whether it's a urethane or whatever the case may be. Oh, TC, how you doing, buddy? Moray, how's it going? Thanks for watching, everybody. So, I've already done some math here. Always do math. Always make sure your math is good. Disregard the rest of this. We're just doing 330 grams divided by 2 for 2 parts. A and B, 165 grams divided by 2 for 2 colors. 82 grams of A and B per color to get our math. So, normally this is closer to 400 for the size blanks that I'm using, but because I'm putting some burl in there, a little bit of subtraction. Awesome. Good to hear, TC. So, here we go. Thanks for joining me. I'm just going to kind of fumble my way through this. I'm still getting used to the whole talking to nobody, even though you guys are there. So, Dead Rise, how you doing, buddy? You'll have to forgive me. I have to have my coffee, so coffee first. All right, so we're going to zero that out. Get my math back out here. Again, East Coast resin, epoxy. See how it works. Now this stuff is thick. This part A, super thick, but it thins out nicely when you add the B. Look at that, it's like goo. $82 grams is what we're looking for here. Now they do say on their website that this stuff works best at about 75 degrees, but I live in Washington State and my shop is in the garage, so we're probably sitting right around, I'd say 65-ish, and you can see that it's thickened up significantly. So if I plan on using this stuff in the wintertime, I'm going to have it inside where it's warm, bring it out here to pour. So we're at 67. Even though I do have a heater in the shop, it's not enough to bring the air temperature up significantly in the shop. At least not for casting's sake. 80, 81. Just need a little bit more. There it is. Yeah, they weren't kidding about this stuff. So there's a downfall to it right there. Unless your shop's warm, this resin doesn't like being cold. It's like watching grass grow. There we go, 82, perfect. So there's 82. We'll do that again. Barry, how you doing? All right. I probably should have taken this in and warmed it up, huh? Otherwise it's like, bleh. Here we go. 82 grams, what we're looking for here. It's 36. I got a fly trying to keep me company. He's trying to stay warm. So if you see me swatting the air, that's all that is. 44. 60-ish. You like that math? 60-ish. Let's not put them fly in the resin. 70. 81. When you're mixing resins, you got to be pretty spot on too. So I guess I can't say pretty spot on. You got to be spot on with this stuff, guys. Ah, there you go. D&B at the Gorge. Nice. All right. So 82. Perfect. So let's zero that out. Cap this off, move it out of the way, even though it's really hard to mix these two up because it's so thick. And we're going to grab our part B. These are mixed by volume. You can see this one's significantly thinner. And we'll get 82 grams, part B, in here. One-to-one by volume. $82. Perfect. Next. $50. 60. I don't know if you guys can hear that. One of my chickens is laying an egg. It's funny to listen to those things. We have 10 chickens here on this property. And right now we're averaging about 9 to 10 eggs a day. So we're never short on eggs around here. $81. 82, there we go. Perfect. Beautiful. Cap that off. So again, for anybody who's just joining, I'm making some 49ers blanks for the wife because a couple of days ago I cast these Seahawks blanks We do live in Washington. We're north of north of Seattle, but we're in Washington, and the 12 fans love these blanks. So, being a house divided, we get 49er blanks. So let's go ahead and stir this stuff up. I had to cut up some thin pieces of wood I had here for stirring sticks because, well, I ran out of stirring sticks. So those are on the Amazon order list. And this is all the fun stuff that goes into making this, where you sit here and stir this stuff for 6 hours and make sure that it's nice and thoroughly mixed and scrape the sides and all that stuff. And it's really hard to do with a short stick, just so you guys know. Don't run out of stirring sticks. How's everybody doing this morning? Everybody enjoying your Labor Day? Who's working? Who's not? I guess I'm kind of working, even though it's not my normal 73-hour a day or 73-hour a week job. Anybody get stuck having to go in today? I appreciate y'all joining me this morning. I definitely should have cut these stirring sticks longer. Well, now that these are mixed up, they're gonna start. TC, nope, self-employed, nice. You a wood turner by trade, or a woodworker by trade? Working from home, TC? Or do you go out on the job sites and do work? So you can see there, it's still a little bit cloudy. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's starting to clear up. And I really do think it's just because that Part A resin wasn't super warm. So, lesson learned. We'll have to make sure that that stays nice and warm from now on. All right. We're done with this. Red and gold, or, yeah, red and gold, ruby and gold, whatever you want to call it. Now, folks, these are not super expensive micas. I don't buy super expensive micas. I don't think there's really a reason. I haven't seen a difference between the really expensive micas and the not so expensive micas. So I just find whatever's on sale for the time being and roll with it. And it seems to have worked out for me in the past so far. So if anybody can give me a reason why the more expensive micas or the mica powders are a better deal or a better use, and if it's a justifiable reason, I will definitely change my story. You make furniture in your shop and working on building a YouTube channel. Hey, that's admirable. I tell you what, YouTube channels, tough to do. It's almost as tough to do Instagram as it is to do YouTube channels, because that's a full-time job in and of itself. So I applaud you, TC. That's good on you. That's not easy. I know, just having recently broken the 1,000 follower mark here on my Instagram, that it is a full-time job. You know, my wife is constantly asking me what I'm doing on Instagram. It's like, well, doing my job, you know, trying to build a following and get people interested in what I do. So look at that color. See? No difference between expensive micas and inexpensive micas. At least that I've found. These micas are beautiful, and they didn't break the bank to buy them. That's a gorgeous color too. That's a really nice red. Can you guys see that right there? So that's gonna start heating up here soon. I'm feeling the cup's already starting to get a little warmer. Let's get this gold going. The only problem with mica powders is it's like glitter. You get it everywhere. You can never get rid of it. Short stirring sticks, bad idea. Full of bad ideas this morning, apparently. Hey, TC, if you're doing a lot of YouTube, check out the free application. It's called DaVinci Resolve. Really great software, free to buy, and it's super powerful for editing on your desktop. If you're doing any desktop video editing, even photo editing, it's an extremely powerful application, and you can do pretty much anything you want. Plus, you can change your upload formats for YouTube or for, you know, personal use, 480p, 1080p, 4K, whatever works best for you. So check that out. DaVinci Resolve for YouTube. Look at that gold. That is like liquid molten gold right there. That's beautiful. All right. So those are cooking. I'm going to have a little cup of coffee here. You got any questions out there for me? Best part is the little ones. Oh yeah, I know. I've got 2 myself and 1 on the way. My wife, actually, we're 20 weeks pregnant as of today, and super excited. So yeah, having the little ones be interested in what you do is definitely worth the while. So can't wait to be out, actually have them old enough to get out here and start playing around with some of this stuff too. How's everybody doing? Any questions or anything? I'm gonna scroll through this here, so you might be seeing my phone moving a little bit, throwing those waves and those shout outs. Oh, no, you don't want to see my face. Hello. Why does my screen run around there? I don't like that. It's the last thing you guys want to see is my ugly mug first thing in the morning. So for me, woodworking blog, this is actually just a part-time thing. I'm actually in software for my regular 73-hour-a-week job, 90-hour-a-week job, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, this is not a full-time gig for me, as much as I wish it was. That is obviously the dream, and the goal is to be self-employed and to make enough money to do this, but it's hard to compete with the software industry some days for a paycheck. So I am in the tech industry. So hope that answers your question. Yeah, look at that color. Man, that's gorgeous. You guys see that? Beautiful color. And these will go in a pressure pot. I always cast in a pressure pot. It prevents bubbles from occurring in your casting. It actually pushes the bubbles back down into solution into the liquid, so that way they're not visible as the resin cures. Once it's cured hard, the bubbles will be microscopic and stay that way for the life of the resin. Look at that color. This will be fun. It's gonna be a pretty mold. So, yeah, we're still at 75 degrees, so they're just now starting to warm up. So this might be a little longer process than normal here. Dead Rise, I am in just north of Bellingham, so basically Canada. We're about 10 minutes from the Canadian border where I live, so it's a little slice of heaven. 10 minutes from the water and about an hour and a half from Mount Baker, 10,000 foot mountain, so we can have snow and be in the water in the same day. Yeah, that gold is pretty, right? Look at that. Who said you need to spend a mint on a mica powder to get an amazing color? Look at that. I think I spent, I don't know, less than $20 on a box of mica powders. They just come in these little bags. I can get 4 or 5 castings out of a bag. And cost me less than 20 bucks, and I've got an entire box full of them to pick from. So definitely check out Amazon for your mica powders. I also did just do a casting here recently using these Stardust micas. A couple of them are flat, like this one, this electric green, and it pops amazingly. It doesn't have the fleck like the typical micas do, like that one there where you can see it's kind of got a shimmer to it. This green and this purple don't have that mica, that reflective quality for powder, but they really, they pop. So it's pretty impressive. Man, Dead Rise. I grew up here in Washington, and I've lived all over the country. I've lived in Alaska, I lived in Florida, I even lived out in North Dakota for a little while, and I tell you what, there's no place like it out here, man. It's beautiful. Being able to wake up and walk out and see the islands because where we live, I can see the San Juan Islands, and then if you turn a little bit, you can see the mountains. So it's pretty impressive, and it makes for some pretty dramatic views. Voodoo, where are you at in Washington, buddy? The giant redwoods actually only naturally occur still down in California. They will grow up here. Actually, I'm planting several giant sequoias on our property to go with the rest of my woods, but they don't grow natively up here. They're native to northern and mid-central or central California. Let's see here. Woodworking blog. How much does the average with the epoxy cost for casting? That depends on the epoxy that you use. Some epoxies, such as Alumilite or liquid diamonds, or I think there's another one called palm resin, which I have not used yet. They're pretty expensive, but they are phenomenal products. And those for the large casting, or the large gallon size like that, or gallon and a half size like that, can run about 150 bucks a bottle. So this one here, this East Coast resin that I bought it on Amazon. It was on Prime, and I think I paid just under 70 for it after shipping. So it was like 60 bucks plus shipping to get it to me. But even though it was on Prime, it didn't really ship in 2 days or whatever. So it took a couple extra days to get it out here, but it was well worth it, and I haven't had any issues with it casting so far. So this will be my third block using this one. and they're rock hard. This is 2 days old, and it's, you know, it's a super hard bar top resin. Got great reviews online, and I haven't had an issue with it, and it holds the colors really well. As you can see, the mica flecking in this one. And when I turned it down for a client pen yesterday in another casting, it was pretty amazing. I don't have the pen out here with me, but I don't know how well you'll be able to see this one, because this is a cut blank, so you're not going to be able to see the colors super well, but there's 5 colors in this one. There's pink, blue, the same electric green, this purple, and then a deep black. Is that 5? Blue, pink, green, purple, black. Yeah. So, and the colors in this are phenomenal. So you can actually see it on my feed. If you go check it out, you should be able to see the pen there in my profile or in my feed. Dead Rise, we do have some really, really big cedar trees. Western Reds are a giant cedar tree, and they're beautiful. I planted 10 of them last year. I'm getting some more this coming spring to plant on my property out here, just because it is such a beautiful, and it's a very fast growing tree too. So I think you can get 3 feet a year out of a healthy Western Red cedar. So there's that gold again. Look at that color, man. That's amazing. We'll just keep stirring it up. It's starting to warm up a little bit now, so it's starting to thin out some, which is nice. Makes it easier to stir. Make sure we scrape the sides here and get all that pretty color mixed in. Note to self, don't run out of stir sticks. It's a pain. Using little tiny pieces of offcuts that I had here, random bandsaw. Look at that red. Talk about crimson, holy cow. That's beautiful. This is going to be a really pretty blank when it's all said and done. Oh, and always wear gloves, because you end up getting resin like everywhere, and mica powder, so always wear gloves. And try not to get it on the travel mugs either. This is our Hawaii mug from our honeymoon last year. Way down in Vancouver. Yeah, you're way down there. You're basically in Oregon. Kind of like I'm basically in Canada. Sequim, now that's a drive. Heck, that's 4 hours out to the coast from here, or longer, and that's after taking a ferry. Wow. Woodworking blog, did I answer your question there about the epoxy resin and the costs? Or can I clarify or validate or anything else better for you? What are you doing down there in Vancouver today, Voodoo? Oh, hey, you've got Voodoo Donuts down there, don't you? Down in Portland. Man, I love Voodoo Donuts. I think everybody loves Voodoo Donuts. Is that where you got the name from? How's it going, GQ? All right. So we're gonna spray the mold here, and then I'm gonna glue this down, because last time I did one of these I forgot to glue it down. Grab a paper towel real quick. So this is stabilized maple burl. It's got some pretty eyes in there that I'll be making a hybrid block on. Let's clear off some of the silicone here from where I'm going to be mounting it so it doesn't stick, or so it does stick rather. There we go. I know a lot of guys use hot glue for this. I don't have any hot glue, so I'm just going to put a couple of beads of CA glue on here. And then stick it in there. And let that sit. And hopefully that'll stick nicely. Might actually put some weight on it too. Not sure what I can use. Ooh, Pittsburgh weather. No, thank you. Hey, woodworking blog, if you're interested in casting, I don't know how much YouTube research you do, because YouTube research is... it's the way of the world nowadays. There are several amazing casters out there. A couple of my personal favorites are Zach at NV Woodworks. He's an amazing caster, and he's got a great startup video tutorial of what it takes to get started. He's also got a book that you can get on getting started in resin casting. Nick Zametti, he's another amazing caster, and he does some great experiments in resin casting, and a fantastic artist. So definitely go check those guys out. I know there's more. I'm just really bad with names. So, yeah, check out those guys. See who they watch and who they follow. And you can always reach out. Zach is really great about answering questions. If you send him a message, even here on Instagram, he'll usually get back to you really quick with a pretty straightforward, good answer to get you moving forward. So, definitely check him out. I haven't had a ton of interaction with Nick Zametti, but he's another great guy. So you could probably shoot him a question. I think he's down in New Zealand, I want to say. Check him out. Watch their stuff. See how they do what they do. And that should answer a lot of your questions about getting started with resin casting and the different stuff that you can do with it. Because this is the most basic, well, not the most basic. This is one of the most basic things that you can do with resin casting. And this is just not going to stick, is it? Yeah, all right. Let's see here. I think it's because of that. I think it's definitely because of that silicone. So let's see if we can solve that issue. Sure thing. Oh, he's in the UK. Oh, okay. I thought he was in New Zealand for some reason. I didn't realize he was in the UK. But hey, thanks for the update there, Deadrise. Sorry, Nick, if you happen to catch that. My mistake. I apologize. All right, let's see where we're at here. All right, 87 and 85. So we're definitely starting to make some headway now. I usually cast right around the 115 mark. It gives us good separation, but still allows the colors to mix together without blending. take a look at those colors again. I'm sure I've lost several people along the way because this is a long process. This is a slow or a long working time resin. So they say the working time on this resin is about 30 minutes, which is a really long time in the world of resins. A lot of the higher end resins have very short working times, 8 minutes or less. 8 minutes is more than enough time to do this, obviously, because I've been sitting here yapping for half an hour now. So you don't need really long working times most of the time. It all depends on what you're trying to accomplish and what your end goal is. So Moray, how's it going? What are you up to today? Yeah, it's much thinner now. Look at that. That color. I did have somebody ask me once if I've ever had any issue using wax cups. Now, obviously, you can see these are wax cups. I have not had issue using wax cups. I'm not doing ultra clear casting here, so I'm not nearly as worried about a little bit of contamination in the resin before I pour it. If I were trying to accomplish that perfect clear glass casting, I would definitely not be using wax cups. I would be using a plastic. That way there's no chance of contamination or scraping or anything else. All right, that's starting to sit in there better, so that's good. They're starting to warm up now. Almost 90 and 93. This one's cooking a lot faster for some reason. Wonder why. Maybe I'm stirring it more. A couple more minutes and we'll be ready to pour and get it in the pressure pot. Stir this one up some more, see if we can get some heat to it. Most resins say don't whip the resin as you stir, and that's all to prevent bubbles, but because I do cast all of my blocks under pressure, I'm not worried about that, and this allows me to stir it really well. So you can see you get some really great color, but it's full of bubbles. But again, I don't care because I cast under pressure. So we are casting 49er blanks today, 49er block today, to offset my casting of a Seahawks block, 12th man block yesterday, or the day before rather. I cast it the day before and I cut it up yesterday. So nice and hard. So this is East Coast resin. I turned a pen down out of this block yesterday for a client. It's 5 color pour. It's the most colors I've done. It was a custom order, custom pour. You can see the pen and the finished product on my feed. Really amazing. TZ, how's it going? Was that T-Zort Zakes? Cool. TC, yeah, wax cups. If you're going to do ultra clear casting, don't use them. If you're not doing ultra clear casting like this, don't worry about it. Everything I do, I try and do as cheaply as possible. As far as materials, I can't say cheap, as inexpensively as possible in materials, because a lot of these materials that you're using are just going to end up garbage. You're not making money off of this, so you don't want to use expensive stuff that's going to cut into your bottom line. I mean, it's business, right? So as inexpensive of material as possible to get the best end result possible, you know? So that's why I use these cups specifically. So let me move a few things around here. I've got to get my pressure pot set up. I do not have a dedicated casting station yet. This is as close as I've gotten to having one. So I have to move my stuff around a lot because this is also my pen assembly station and my, miscellaneous workspace here in my garage. So I make do with what I've got, and everybody stays happy. I do like to use a little bit of white lithium grease. You'll see it on my pot a little bit, but I put it on this main gasket here. Gives me a good seal. And prevents any possible air leaks or loss of pressure during the casting. So that way I don't get any blown out or bubbled up block molds. So white lithium grease definitely helps. Also, if you're getting ready to set up your pressure pot, make sure you invest in some Loctite. I think it's 454 or 545. I don't remember which one it is. It's 5s and 4s. And use that on your threads. Don't bother with Teflon tape. Just use the Loctite. It cures in the absence of oxygen, so put it on the inside or on the threads. And when you put your fittings in there, the Loctite will cure in about 2 or 3 days, and you're good to go. Because Teflon tape, it's a waste of time. Each mold will spend up to about 24 hours in the mold, or in the pressure pot rather. Even though it doesn't need to be in the pressure pot that long, typically I will do a pour before I go to bed or before I go in for the night, and then it will stay in the pressure pot until usually after dinner the next day, just to make sure that it's well and truly cured and that we don't have any issues. So we're just at about 100 degrees right now. And I've got enough pressure in the tank that it shouldn't need to turn it on. Biscuits, how's it going? Peshok, how's it going? Hope everybody's doing well today. These are just about ready to pour. We're doing 49er molds here, or a 49er mold rather. My wife is from California, so I'm from Seattle, so we're a little house divided here. I'm a Seahawks fan and a University of Washington Huskies fan, and she's a 49ers fan and a USC graduate, so she's a Trojans fan. So this is definitely going to be a 49ers crimson and gold coloring here, red and gold. I think the USC Trojans she told me is a little more yellow than gold, so we can't really call this a Trojans mold, but I don't know, maybe we could fudge it. What do you guys think? This one's about 2 degrees colder than the other one is. We're still sitting at about 101 degrees. A couple more minutes and these will be ready to pour. So it goes to show you that even though the part A was like very viscous, very difficult to get poured out of the bottle, it will still heat up and cook to a thin state really well, as long as you mix it really well. So I guess in this case, having that longer working time is beneficial because it allows it to heat up nicely. There we go. Just another minute. Anybody got any fun plans for the day? After this, we're gonna go take a ferry ride out to one of the islands. Yeah, we got quiet there. Looks like I lost a bunch of people. But this isn't exactly the funnest video. It's more waiting to see the pour. Yep, down to one. That's all right. I appreciate everybody who's joined me this morning and has stuck it out and asked some really great questions and allowed me to yammer on. So you guys are great. And I couldn't do what I do without you. Yeah, just a couple more degrees. I know I keep saying that, but while we're waiting, we'll just do a little cleanup here. There's another one of my pours. All right. 115. These are ready to pour. Here we go, guys. Can you see? So let's do a little bit of gold. We'll do a little bit of red. Let's get some red up here on this wood. Just trying to layer it in there nicely. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we get some good color saturation this way. It looks like we're just about full here. Grab my overpour cup. All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave that out. All right. So there it is, folks. In the pot, ready to go. You can see it's already starting to stir itself up a little bit. We'll put it under pressure and let it go for the next 24 hours or so. So we'll be coming back to this tomorrow afternoon for demold and to see what the insides look like. So thanks for joining me today. You guys have a great Labor Day, and we will see you later.